Did this one slip past your radar? Judging from the box office take on opening weekend and the largely negative critical reception, quick aside, can we please stop pretending review aggregates like Rotten Tomatoes are a reliable metric for a film's overall quality? The tomato meter is a blight on my would-be profession as a film critic. This one probably slipped past you. And for good reason. Another YA dystopian adaptation of opening in August after Maze Runner: The Death Cure belly flopped earlier this year, all but proving that YA dystopian sci-fi was done as a film genre. Yeah, with apologies to fans of The Hunger Games, most of these things kinda suck. So I thought I knew what to expect going into The Darkest Minds. More precocious teenage moppets, wise beyond their years and virtuous beyond reproach, fighting the good fight against a fascist post-apocalyptic police state fashioned after a high school cafeteria seating arrangement. Joy. So color me surprised that this movie was better than I was expecting. Here's our setup. In the not-too-distant future, next Sunday AD, a mysterious ailment has killed the lion's share of an entire generation of Americans under the age of 18, leaving the survivors with psionic abilities categorized in the manner of terror threat levels. Greens are super smart, blues are telekinetic, golds can manipulate electricity, oranges are mind-controlling telepaths, and reds can create and control fire. This leaves America's economy in shambles as President Gray, Bradley Whitford from Get Out, in case you were wondering who the well-meaning idiot who tries to help by immediately making things worse was going to be, has the survivors, beginning with his son Clancy, Patrick Gibson, rounded up in concentration camps in order to cure them of their afflictions. No points for guessing that the country goes to shit in the aftermath of an entire generation of kids dropping dead or becoming the X-Men, with adults either conscripted into the military or making money as skip tracers, bounty hunters tasked with returning escaped kids to the camps, which are more Auschwitz than even the mental ward from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Trust me, most of the adult characters in this film make Nurse Ratched look like Florence Nightingale. Enter our hero Ruby Daly, Amanda Stenberg, one of the rare oranges who manages to escape being immediately euthanized or shot in the head, in her case by pretending to be a green from the age of 10 to the age of 16. When she finally escapes the camps and joins a merry band of psionic kids on their way to East River, a sanctuary for psis run by the mysterious Slip Kid who's managed to evade capture and even escape from the camps on several occasions. There's the expected awkward teenage romances, double crosses, and things being not as they appear, either in East River or with the agents of the Children's League, a shadow government of adults who are sympathetic to the plight of the psis in the camps and exists in direct opposition to the federal government of President Gray. The thing I like most about this film is that it manages to avoid most of the cliches that have us all burned out on other YA properties like Divergent or The Maze Runner or even The Hunger Games. The setting is a failed state rather than a fascist empire or an amoral technocracy. The kids are allowed to screw up and have no clue how their powers work. Makes sense given that the adults are scared shitless of what they could do if they did have a handle on their psionic abilities. And even the budding romance between Ruby and fellow Psi Liam, Harris Dickinson, is awkward and sweet in the way teenage romance is supposed to be. The metaphor of the problems with the generation gap between the new generation with powers never before seen in history and the older generation that doesn't understand them to the point of fearing and even hating them is about as subtle as a shotgun blast to the face, but it works. There's even an Act 3 plot twist involving a villain born of pain, resentment, and self-loathing, and a stark reminder that children are very often only as good as the adults who raise them and act as their formative moral compass. And aside from Mandy Moore as the kind-hearted doctor who springs our hero from captivity, there isn't a single adult character that isn't evil, stupid, or untrustworthy. Gwendolyn Christie even shows up as a skip tracer named Lady Jane, and if you thought Captain Phasma had all the tender warmth of a fire-breathing dragon, hoo boy. If this film has any failings, it's mostly in the budget. This is clearly a low-budget cheapie with only a few action set pieces and powers realized mostly by having the kids' eyes glow and their corresponding identification colors. I'm also puzzling over why the Reds only ever show up as brainwashed attack dogs during the Act 3 boss fight. which is a barn burner but leads into a sequel hook that may disappoint you. Your mileage may vary in that regard, but I didn't hate it, and at least my favorite characters, Chubbs, Charles, until you've earned the right to his nickname, played by Skyland Brooks, a Green, who was the smart guy of Ruby's traveling party, and Sue, played by Mina Czech, apologies if I mispronounced that, a young mute Gold, who's just so darn cute I could have put her in my pocket, lived to fight in the sequel. Assuming there is a sequel, this movie isn't doing so hot in theaters right now. Which is a shame. It's hardly perfect, and I'm older than the target audience, but I had a good time and was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed myself. 2.5 spellbooks out of 4. Not the best thing to come out this year, but hey, it's an early August release. You take what you can get. Check this out, or wait till it comes out on DVD.